Hi guys and welcome to this channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to create a multi-language website that the data or the text is come from SQL database. A guy commented, Gulshan Kumar, how to translate SQL data also serve into multilingual. I think what he means is when you build a website in multiple languages in ASP.NET Core, then for most of things you use resource files. Let me show you. For most of texts on the user interface, it is best to use resource files. But sometimes, for some scenarios or situations, that the user is allowed to add or update texts in multiple languages, you cannot use resource files, so you have to use the database. Open Visual Studio to create a new project. Visual Studio 2022. Click on Create a new project. Type in the search bar MVC ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller with C#. Select it and click on Next. The project name Multi-Language Website DB. And for the solution, I would like to add an app as well to distinguish between solution and project. You can change the location. Then click on Next. The .NET Framework version, I am using .NET 8 long-term support. Authentication type none, configure for HTTPS. And also do not use top level statements. Then click on Create. For translating or adding translation for SQL data, you have many options. The first option is that you yourself add translations manually. You can do that via the user interface, which we are going to do in this video. The second option is that you integrate Google Translate or any programmable dictionary into your application. Let us create an About page. Right click, add new folder, call it About. Right click, add then view, empty view, and click on add. Index.cshtml is okay, click on add. Go to program.cs. Here you can add also another query parameter for the language. Let us call it language, and by default it is EN, which is English. Save it. To get the language from the query parameter, you can use this view context route data dot value the name of the query parameter to string. This is part of the globalization and localization in ASP.NET Core. To make the error go away, show potential fixes and using globalization. Very nice. Save it. Open a section element. So we also have to create view model. Right click, add class, call it About View Model. Okay. Public string title, public string description. Save it. Import the model about view model, and here open h1. Here we can use model dot title and the paragraph element with model dot description. It is given a default title. Who are we? We are a group of excellent software engineers. Save it. Let us also create an admin page that we can add content or text in multiple languages. Right click on the view, add new folder, admin. Right click on admin, then add then view, razor view empty, index.cshtml is okay. Click on add. Open a section, h1, and translation for your data. You can add translation in 12 languages for your pages. For the title, then open label, for example the first one for English, input type text, name, title, en, required, and break. Copy the whole thing, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, Ctrl V. This one is for French, for example, and this one is for let us say Spanish, SP. I don't know what is the abbreviation for Spanish, but let's say SP, SP, FR, and SP. Copy the whole thing, Ctrl V, change this to description, I am being a little bit lazy because I am sick, but this is not the convention that you use. Normally it has to be uppercase title en, and open here a button, submit button type submit, and the text is submit. Now let us take care of the database. In the root of your project, create a new folder. Right click on your project name, then add the new folder. Call it data. In the data, create a new folder models. Add new class. Call it page model. So the ID, page ID, language ID. In our case, we only have just one title and description. Right click on controllers, add controller, MVC controller empty. The name of the controller, we have about page and admin page. About controller, very nice, and also another one for admin. MVC controller empty and add. Admin add. Let us update the about view model to use it also on admin page. And here public hint language ID. Add class admin view model. Public list. This one is about view model. Let us call it page data. And then on the admin page, we can add the model. Admin page view model. We are doing this because we also want to use the same forum to update the title and the description. For the language ID, let us use, for example, 1 for English, 2 for French, and 3 for Spanish. Now let us set up and configure that database. First, we have to install some libraries or packages. Right click on the name of your project and then manage NuGet packages. Go to browse and browse here entity framework. We need entity framework core. the latest version of your .NET framework. In my case, it is .NET 8, so the latest stable version is 8.0.6. If you are using, for example, .NET 6, it will be like 6.0.31, just as an example. Then click on install. Accept it. Accept it. I am a little bit sick, but you don't worry. And we need Microsoft.entity framework core.sql server. All packages should have the same version. The design, apply, accept it. Entity framework core.tools, install, apply, accept it. Very nice. Close it, close it. Right click on data folder, then add, then class. Name it app.db context and enter. This inherits from db context. Show potential fixes using Microsoft Entity Framework Core. Very nice. Then we have to add here constructor, public app.db context, db context options, and this one. Then for the database table, public db set page model, and this is the name of our table. Save it. Show potential fixes, use primary constructor. Save it again. Close this. Open app settings.json, and here we need to add connection string. Connection string, for example, website data, and here the connection string from your database. You can find it by going to View, SQL Server Object Explorer. Then here you see your database. Right click, then go to Properties. Here you see the connection string. Select all of it, Ctrl C, and then Ctrl V here. Close it and close it. So data source, the name of your machine, the name of your SQL Server instance, integrate security true, connection timeout encrypt true, trust server certificate true. When the encrypt is true, this one should be true, or you have to include another certificate for that. Otherwise you will get error. So save it, close it, open program.cs, and here for the database context, builder dot services dot add db context, and our app db context, then options dot use SQL server, and then here we have to get the connection string, which is from builder dot configuration get connection string, and then here pass the name of your connection string, which is this is the name of your connection string. So copy and paste. Private read-only app db context, call it context, then create a constructor, public about controller, the context, then this. Do the same thing for admin controller. Change this to admin controller. Page ID, for example, for the about page, we gave ID 1. About page is 1. And then here we have to use key to make the ID column the primary key for this table. Now let us run the migration. Go to the tools, NuGet package manager console. Type here add migration. The name of your migration, for example, initial, and the output directory should be in data. So we want the migration to come inside the data folder. Hit enter. So our mistake is here inside the DB context. This page model does not refer to this page model, but it refers to Microsoft.asp.NET Core MVC.razorpages.page model. So Control C, Control V, dot models dot page model, or this part is not necessary. Save it. Now this time it is okay. So data migrations, and this is the name of our migration. Open app settings JSON. We forgot to give a name for the database here. So database, give a name like, for example, website data. Open program.cs, and here there is another mistake. Remove this curly braces. and remove this. Save it. Open up settings.json again. This is connection strings, not string but strings. Save it. Go to tools, NuGet package manager console, update database. Very nice. Open views folder, then click on layout. Here we have to change some stuff. Control C, Control V, and remove the whole thing. This one is home. Control C, Control V, Control V. This is about. So the controller is about, and this one is privacy. The action is privacy. Inside the home controller, so we have privacy. Multi-language website. Now for creating links to switch between languages. This is the HTML helper that helps you to create dynamic links. This is for the English. It is create for French and Spanish. So @ HTML dot action link. The first one is the link text, so French, and then the name of the action, so view context dot route data dot values action. The same thing for the controller, view context dot route data dot values, and the controller. Now for the query parameter, we don't need this. The query parameters, so the language is the query parameter, and the code for the language is fr, for example, and no other HTML attribute for this. So toString, and also this one toString. Control C, copy this for Spanish, and change the language. The language code is ASP, for example. Now let us see how it looks like. Click on the play icon to run your application. Very nice. So here home, about, privacy, English, French, and Spanish. Let's give this a class name. Give it language nav. Give this normal nav. Open the www root folder, CSS, site CSS. Here you can say normal nav A and language nav A, so that it has text decoration none and margin left, it is say 10 pixels. Restart the app. Now it looks better. So go to about controller. Here we get the language, so string language. This language is the query parameter or the query string that we pass here inside the program.cs. So language by default is English. So about view model, we have to pass the model here so that we have the data inside the about page here. Now if we run again, we will get the data. Go to the about page. Now we see who are we. We are a group of excellent software engineers. First, let us get the language ID. Int language ID. If language is if R, then it is 2, and if language is ASP, it is 3, otherwise it is 1. And then here the page model. Page model, this model, let's call it page data, is from the context dot pages dot first or default a dot language ID is language ID. So if it is not null, model dot title and model dot description. So and e dot page ID should be 1. The page should come before the language. We should do the same thing for the admin controller. So admin controller, Control C, Control V, show potential fixes, use this one, not the eraser pages. And this one should be admin view model. Admin view model. change the first or default to where list of page model, and this one also to list. So if page data is not known, we loop over the page in data. If page.language ID is 1, about view model, title page dot title, and description page dot description. You can also pass the language ID page dot language ID. Control X, then model dot page in data dot add about view model. We don't need the if actually here, it's crazy. In the user interface, then we can display the data inside the inputs. Control X, so if item dot language ID is 1, it is English, we display this, and the value is going to be item dot title. Control C, if it is 3, it is Spanish. We can do the same thing for the description. And change this to description. And then when you submit this form should come here. Public I action result, not details. Add or update translation. Return view, the view name index. We have to create a model for the data that we get here. Let us call it translation forum. Translation forum. Public string title en. Title fr and title ASP. Description en, description fr and description ASP. User input, English translation, page ID 1, language ID 1, title, user input dot title en, description en, and then add it to the database. Context dot pages dot add English translation, French to language ID is 2, pages 1, sorry, and title fr, description fr, and French translation. Control C again, Control V, and then Spanish. And then context.save changes to save the changes. So ASP action is add, update, Control C, Control V, and ASP controller is admin. Go back to the layout. We forgot to add the admin page. About, admin, controller, admin, and by default it is index. Close it. Add here view data, title, this is the admin page, Control C, and this is the about page. And also here the page data.count is greater than 0, else you have to model the page data.add new admin view model with language ID set to 1, another time to 2, another time to 3. Here we have to actually initialize the page data. Save it. Now if you go to the admin page, for the title, description, French, Spanish, French, Spanish. Made a mistake here, this one should be English 1. Save it. Restart. Back to the admin page. Now English, French, Spanish. Let us also style this to look a little bit better. So inside the CSS, give a class for this forum, and also add method post. Stop this for now. Class name translation form. Control C. Translation forum for label should be font weight bold, and all the inputs weight should be, let's say, 80%. Height, let us say 30 pixels, and margin left ten pixels. Let us see. So very interesting. Margin top also 10 pixels. Control C, the same thing for the label. Very nice. And the title, let us give it another class. Let's give it HDR. Control C, Control V, .hdr. Font size, let us say 20 pixels, and font weight bold. Okay, very nice. And the submit button, Control C, bottom border, border top 20 pixels, width 200 pixels, height 100 pixels, border none, outline none, cursor pointer, background. This background color, this text align center, padding top and bottom 3 pixels, right and left 6 pixels. Let us see how it looks like. It does not look good. 50. Okay, it looks good. Let us submit the forum. For English it is who are we, it is okay. Control C. Who are we? Let us say to French. Copy. Control V. And now this time for Spanish. This is another language. The question mark is at the beginning, upside down. This is actually. Anyway. Control C. Control V. And now for the French. Control V. And let us submit and let's see if we get any error. I think it is added. When it returns it is screwed up. Let us see in the database, view, SQL Object Explorer, page, view data. Well, here we have the translation page, language ID and stuff. Perfect. Stop it. About view model. It is not view. Get model underscore. Control X. Control V. Return model. Admin view model. admin view model get model. Copy that. Also here the model, and pass it the model. And here every time you come to this method, it will add the new data and it will not update. So we have to make it also to update if it exists. Context the pages the first or default the language ID is 1. So if it is not null, and also if en the title is not the same as user input dot title en, Control C, and else if it is null, then you have to do this. To do not repeat this part, we should create another method here, public void update table. We get here, for example, about view model, call it data, Control C, Control V. In the language ID is data.language ID. Data.title and data.title change it to only translation. Context.save changes. About view model, this is for English. Control C, this is for French. This is for Spanish. and update table Spanish. Let us try it out. Go to the admin. So if I say only 1, 2, it should update, and the next time you should see the updated data. And submit. Very nice, perfect. And then if you go to the about, now we are seeing the English because it is English, and then switch to French. Now we are seeing the French. Spanish, we are seeing the Spanish. So this is how you create a multi-language website by translating the data from SQL database or any database. Basically, it is manually adding a translation for all the data in your database. The easiest way is to integrate Google Translate, but there are two things with Google Translate. First, it cannot translate perfectly like human. Second, it is not free, so you have to pay for Google API key. That's it guys, I hope it was helpful. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, and being around. Have great times and hopefully see you in the next video.